and just meeting it where it's at, which is Zoom. So
Yeah, it
my
really
first
is.
time doing a Zoom networking event.
Oh, good. Jamie, are you in? Are you in? Give us the update. She just moved.
Well, now I have to wrap my head around saying I live in Concord, North Carolina.
Right. And your house is already set up. How is North Carolina? It looks warm.
It is warm and I like warmth. I miss warmth. I was born and raised in Tennessee, so I'm feeling like it's like natural. But my fiance is from the city, from Minneapolis, so keep watching everything like amaze him.
Really? And is that why you went to the Ozarks? Because you're from Tennessee? Is that?
No, we went to the Ozarks. I just wanted to, me and my sister and stuff wanted to come here, and you know, me and him weren't getting along very well. So we just need to like connect and recenter and like go back to what makes us click with each other. And so this is where we came, and it's beautiful out here. And even business connection out here.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And then now, I don't know if you know this, but the Ozarks are also really, you may know this from Tennessee, but you know, black apples are a big deal out there.
Yeah, I had all kind of food, and they were out of season or something with the COVID they were talking about. Like they couldn't give us certain stuff. So
well, you'll be close. You'll be close.
But yeah, I went to the world's largest toy museum, which is like, I met the owners. Like I always ask in my universe when I go to cool places is to meet the people who are inspired by it. This place was so amazing. And I was talking about if I could only have dinner, I would cook for 2 hours for the owner just to listen to the stories of how they got all these toys and stuff. Oh, yeah. And the owner was standing right there. And I just looked and I was like, are you him? And he was like, yeah. And I just started crying because the place was so amazing. Right. And I was like, look in my universe talking to me. I met the damn owner.
Right now. Now. Well, that's so good. That's so good. Amy, you're new to us. Give us your introduction.
Oh, hello, Amy Charland, Rochester, Minnesota. And I work with bright, talented women who feel stuck in soul-crushing jobs and want to escape. So I help them find a career they love or build a business that lights them up and lights up their bank account as well. That's important, right? That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Sandy, give us your shout out here.
Hey, everybody. Do you want me to say any about what I do?
Yeah, well, you know, how are you? How are you? Just
I'm very good. Actually, I have a client who has COVID. And so I got tested and I got my results this morning. I am negative.
That's awesome.
So now I have to leave the house again.
Right.
I'm going to go back out into the world today.
Right. And you're having a great summer. I mean,
yeah, pretty good. Things are pretty steady. Yep. I'm having I had a really good spring. And then now it's slower, but it's still steady. I mean, so it's a good pace for me. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, people want to buy houses and sell houses, so that's good.
That's what you want to do. Donna, give us your quick check-in.
I'm Donna. I have a business called NW2, and my first venture in the business is soccer birds, birds who play soccer. And the new theme of August is Fun Up. Thank you, Karen Hartson. Fun Up. Fun up. And, you know, NW2 Playful Art is my tagline. And somehow my tagline got lost from my world. So anyway, I'm funning up soon now.
Good. Good. Right. Right. Karen's got a 2 thumbs up there.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what we're all about today.
Right. Well, and then I was like, when I saw it, I'm like, thank goodness I motivated.
Right. Now we've got some other people that are ready to click in, but I'm not going to wait for them because we have some activities. I'm just going to remind everybody that you will need paper today. So paper and a dark pen. because today we have some playing to do. So you'll be able to kind of put your paper up to the screen. So I'm going to share my screen because life is so good. And then we'll do our naming. Let me get to the beginning. Okay, all right. So everybody has their paper ready. We've got, we're here to talk about play and business and how to do that. You know, you're gonna figure out different ways that you can play with your customers, with your clients, and I'm gonna give you some real examples. Some of you have actually been at these real examples, so you may see yourself here. Again, if I'm going to, you should be able to see the people on the side, right? So you can see the people on the side, and then you can kind of see the main screen. So you should be able to do that. But
Yeah, you just have to, if you don't see that, just up in the upper right-hand corner where it says view, just click until you see the people on the side.
right,
Yeah, it's gallery view.
right. So, and it'll give you some choices about how you want to see everybody. And this group, people kind of drop in through the pieces. So don't be surprised if suddenly when we all come together again, we'll come together 3 more times where we'll change the screen through this, that suddenly there's more people. And don't worry, that's it. But our goal today is that you can walk away with three real ways that aren't your natural, you know, not your normal, that you can kind of play with people. And again, understanding more about what that play is. And they'll just come in while we're doing class. They just do. And, oh, okay. So Dawn Manthe, Karen is trying to get in.
Well,
So will you send her a thing that says the computer keeps doing something?
I see her.
Oh, she's in.
Except for me,
Yeah.
I was having a problem getting in.
Oh, okay. Well, I got your message. So, but you figured it out before I could.
Nope, Ashley did.
Oh, Ashley's awesome. So just to catch you guys up, you're going to need pen and paper so we can see you on the screen. We'll be handing it up so we can kind of share those things. And then we'll do introductions at that point. But again, right, get your paper ready. If you don't have it, we are going to give you the miming option. So it's easier to just write it down. You want to walk with those 3 pieces of play. But the number one reason, again, is to focus on what kind of brain you're going to build for you. And that's what scientists call pro-social brains. So a pro-social brains is really looking at how we are working with other people in positive ways, but I call it the positive remembrances. And so what I call that is really the good times brain, right? Where you're like, oh, you're here, right? Many times when you see me, I'm off the moon. To be exciting. So that is the outcome that we're having for you personally, is that good times brain. So here's our first challenge today. So what'll happen is that you'll take the challenge, and then you'll pick up your paper, and then you'll introduce it to the group. And then I'll stop sharing my screen for those 30 seconds so that we can all see each other. And here is the challenge. So draw a picture very quickly of your best friend. Write their secret nickname on it, because friends have nicknames, and then why they make you laugh. Why do they make you laugh? Plenty of time, still 20 seconds left. Plenty of time. You can draw their face. Okay, 8 seconds left. Okay, Jackie, I saw you get done first. Hold up your best friend so we can meet your best friend. Oh, here is Sweet Cheeks. Give us some update on Sweet Cheeks. You got to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Yes, my best friend is my husband, and that's just a cute name that I've always called him. And we're together now almost 24/7, but he's makes me laugh.
All right. All right. Karen Carson, give us your best friend.
My best friend. My best friend, she has a couple different names. She's artist or star girl. I don't ever call her star girl in front of her because she doesn't like that. But that's because she's an astrologer and many other things. And one of the things that makes me laugh about her is that she loves to learn, and she loves to learn some sometimes very strange things, which makes me learn some very strange things.
She does have strange things. Jamie, give us your best friend. Introduce us to your best friend.
Say me.
Yep, hold it up.
Oh, you got 3. Tell us about it.
No, it's me in the middle.
Uh-huh.
And so I got day 1 and my ace.
Uh-huh.
So my day 1, like, we've been friends for 20 plus years, and she makes me laugh because I said she's with the boo-boos, but I said the bad word. Because anything, like, she doesn't care. She's like, let's do it. Good or bad. You always need a friend like that. That's my day 1 because she's my first best friend. And then there's my ace, and she makes me laugh because I said she puts up with all of, like, my good foolishness. Like, she dances with me, and I like to just sing out of nowhere. And so if I start skipping, she'll start skipping. So
that's so great.
My 2 best friends.
Okay, Sandy, introduce us to your best friend.
This is Amy, and her nickname is BFF. Excuse me. So that's why I thought of her, because it's like the second time we did something together, she told everybody, "This is Sandy. We're BFFs." It's like I hardly even knew her. She's telling everybody we're BFFs. So that's a joke. And then the other thing she does that makes me laugh is she always calls Barack Obama her boyfriend. Oh, my boyfriend gave a speech today. It was so awesome.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun.
She's fun.
Amy, introduce us to your best friend.
Oh, this goes by Mel. That's her nickname, and she has this glorious curly hair. I could have drawn more. She uses this lion's mane of hair. I love it. And what makes me laugh about her is just her view of the world is so lighthearted. She can always see the silver lining. She's always got a smile. She's the most upbeat, positive person I know. She walks into a room, she lights it up. I love being around her. She is just a beautiful person all the way around.
Oh, that's so fun. Dawn, give us your best friend. Did you get a haircut?
I did, and I'll tell you more about it.
It's magic.
Oh, thank you. You like it?
I do. You're so
sisu
pretty.
On today, so here's my sisu.
Ooh, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So I got that on. So here is Sue. I'm not very good at. There you go. I think you can.
That looks good.
She's kind of little in that picture, but I like hearing what Amy's best friend is. That sounds like a
awesome. A good best friend for you.
what I was going to say about Sue is that we bitch about the same things. So there's a little bit different sort of personality there, but she's pretty awesome. And we spend a lot of time talking because we go for a walk at least once a week. Well, now once a week together. And we used to work together for quite a few years. And I spent a lot of time not liking her, and she spent a lot of time not liking me. But when we started getting pissed off about the same things, it brought us together. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Janet, introduce us to your best friend.
Princess K of the Milky Way. And Princess K, I said her because she made me laugh most recently. She lives in the state of Washington. And I could hear this loud motor. And I said, what is that? Is it a chainsaw? Is it? And she said, I'm not sure because my husband's walking through with a can of gas. I can't say it the way she says it, but she can say any normal thing really funny. And when I met her, we were going to the Uptown Theater 30 years ago with expired passes. And if you had passes, you could cut the line. And the line went around the block, and it was a date for her. And she was so mad, but it turns out that she's really funny. She's from a big Catholic family and a tiny dairy farm. But she is a lawyer. She's very smart. And then the next time I saw her was at a dinner that we all had to go to, and she had on cowboy boots and like a mini skirt and played electric guitar.
Oh, wow.
That's how
great
she
friend.
really is. But yeah.
Great friend.
But
Donna,
anyway, because you said funny, she
Yeah.
can say anything and it's funny.
Okay. Donna, introduce us to your best friend.
Okay, I have my best friend is Soldier Girl, and she goes into giggle fits, and she doesn't like the term best friends. So I would say we're deep friends, but with the giggle facet of the friendship.
So good. Ashley, introduce us to your best friend.
I don't think so. She didn't draw me.
I was going to too, but look at you.
Liar! You went with Sisu.
Right. And what makes you laugh about her?
Liar. Complete liar. Well, you said a person who makes you laugh all day, but you know what? From now on, we're not talking.
That's awesome. Okay, so here's my friend. Her name is Janet. Her nickname is Ranchero. So I always have to go, Ranchero, let's ride. She's always late. She's a hairdresser. And she's a hairdresser that always, like, no matter where we're traveling, she has the worst hair. Like, it's the worst. And so I named, so like when she wakes up, I mean, it's the worst.
It's always a nice color, though.
It's a good color. She also colors my mom's hair. But yes, so that's Ranchero, and so that's my world right there. But she's always late. So I have to snap her in, or she's lollygagging. She likes to lollygag, and I'm a lollygagger, so that means you're really slow, right? So I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see if it'll let me do that again. I'm learning. So I'm going to share my screen again. How many of you are smiling right now? Pretty much everybody, right?
Yeah.
It is fun to play. It is fun to play. It's fun to know why you're doing it. When we look at why are we doing this class today, right? Whoops, I guess it always loves to start at the beginning. Is that you're gonna have to know, wow. Okay, so there we go, paper challenge, there we go. Right, you're gonna need to know why you're doing it, right? And we know that you're gonna make more money, you're gonna have more fun, but you'll just do it faster. Giggling really makes things go. So here's Dawn, who's on this class and in here, right? So when we start to look at this, this is really for those of you who've done some other classes with me where we've gone over the brain science, this is those neurons in the front of your brain. And without that experience, it isn't. So like when we talk about play will keep you young, it will keep your brain young. And there isn't another way to get those neurons to replenish. So there's a real reason. The other thing that I remind people about is playful discussions. And we're going to go through a bunch of different kinds of play and how I've done it in the past and how you can start to get your own ideas in it. But it's an interesting thing about playing with someone because it changes the trust relationship. And it'll change the trust relationship. And if you've ever read The Speed of Trust, we've worked that book together as a group before, right? That you get to bypass the line. You get to go to the front because they trust you. They know how you're going to play, right? And it's interesting that if you are meeting a stranger and you have a playful way about you, the chances are that they're going to trust you faster than someone who was very formal, right? So when we look at this also as a way to work on intimacy, for those of you who may be in relationships that are long-term or short-term, that being able to laugh with someone is, for women, that is the #1 request that they have in a partner, is someone that can make them laugh because they want to play. They want to play. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is, I like to get the real, the real stuff, because you're going to have to put this into your business plan and you're going to have to be able to put it in how you're working with people. And I do understand that we're in COVID. So for those of you who are note writers, right, that this is really where you have to go. This is where the science of how big business is looking at play and social relationships. This is how the science is going. This is how you're building new websites. They're all based on the same brain science, which is really that we're hoping to prolong an emotional reaction or experience with our user, right? And many of you are having very close relationships with people. But again, it's how do we lengthen the amount of time that we can have that feel good emotion with someone. So for many of you, this is going to be a multi-layer approach. That's why we have 3 things that you have to be able to put in. That the more layers that you have built with those customers, like a multi-layer cake, the more little layers, even if they're thin, the more times that has happened, the more likely they are to stay for a long time. And the piece I want you to write down today really is this word, capitalizing, right? So if you haven't read everything on the thing, it's there. But it is also that chance to re-experience. So for some of you, right, I'll use Dawn as an example, right? It was fun to see your picture in today's class, right, of us laughing together. I thought it was. And that you're looking for ways for people to re-experience that opportunity because they can go, oh, I had a great time with you on that. And you don't necessarily have to draw out those details, but sometimes when you are talking to anyone that you're partnering with on all those locations, that trip down memory lane. Remember when we learned this? Remember when we had this class, right? It helps go back in and feel that good feeling. For those of you who are in class a lot, sometimes I'll make a note to something from a class we had 6 times ago that you may have had a huge brain, moment in that, and then you'll go back and remember that. So we will learn on that. So when you're looking at how to play with your customers, this is the word I need you to really remember, is capitalizing, because that's the key of all social media. That's the key of all playful pieces. And you're gonna have to kind of figure out, how is that? How is that? So right now we have a group experiment, and in that experiment, you'll have to write down 2 names, and then you'll have to unmute. You don't have to draw them. I'm not going to change the screen, but I am going to just let everybody kind of tell us their 2 names. You have 30 seconds, but it's really only going to take you about 15. So you got to think of 2 names. These are 2 characters. Make up a Hollywood or historical couple and write it on your paper.
What do you mean by makeup?
Well, so like Sonny and Cher, like we're going to name these 2 goats.
Oh.
And now you can see them as Sonny and Cher.
So are we putting real people or just names we made up?
Well, you get to choose.
Oh, okay.
But most people are going to look at a Hollywood couple.
Oh, so I think I did it wrong.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can give them names or whatever. So I'm going to go back to the group again. So I made mine Queen Victoria and Prince Albert in retirement, right? Now we kind of look at their names and go, oh, I see that in them. Jackie, who did you pick?
Lucy and Ethel.
Oh, totally.
That's a good
Totally see that in there. Amy, what about you?
You have to unmute yourself, Amy.
You got to unmute.
Sorry. I need more tea this morning. I can't remember who Jennifer Aniston's husband is, but then there's of course the Brad Pitt. So it could be Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt.
Oh, totally could be. Totally could be.
Yeah, you don't have to use the current timeline.
Yes, no, mine's Queen Victoria. Karen Carson, who'd you pick?
I picked Kanye West and Kim Kardashian.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and the one with the mouth open on the right is Kim.
Is Kim. Oh, got it. Okay. Donna, what about you? Who did you pick?
I just went with 2 names, Polly and Rebecca.
Oh, Polly and Rebecca. Jamie, and who did you pick?
Deborah and David.
Oh, yeah. Totally Deborah and David. Janet, who did you pick?
Lucy and Desi, even though I know that's it.
Totally. Sandy.
Dick and Tommy Smothers.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's so
God.
good.
We had the record when I was little.
Oh, that's so good. Don, who did you pick?
Fred and Wilma.
Oh, Fred and Wilma. Absolutely. Ashley, who did you pick?
I went with Will and Jada Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Now, it's funny how each of us went through that picture, right? And we could see it, right? We all went, oh, I can see that now, right? And that is one of the magical parts of play, right? That you can invite someone into your vision. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to look exactly like that. So I'm gonna screen share again, right, and remind you how cute these guys are. And I love it that it always makes me go back to the first page. That's so crazy. So in capitalizing, let's see if it'll make me do it this way. No, it loves to do this. Then you'll get all of this reminder stuff. Capitalize it, right? Here are the 2 names. So when you're looking at capitalizing, right, we're going to do this in multiple ways. So if we're in social media, right, here's a capitalizing piece. Anybody see this as a state of Minnesota?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Right. So this was one of those pieces where we just took the ad and went Minnesota proud, right? We're with you. And it's a way to kind of be playful, right? And how do you kind of get that knowledge forward? So sometimes when you look at play and media, that's where a lot of you are going to be probably learning how to do things when it is capitalizing. And that is the key to having these virtual closeness relationships. So when you look at those shared moments and experiences, it actually doesn't have to be you and that exact other person to have that. It can just be you telling your story that is truth, that makes someone understand that, right? That no matter what it is, sometimes if you offer a piece of yourself or tell a story about something, it makes that group feel more meaningful, right? So I have a music group that is the soundtrack of your life, it's called. And one of the things that that group leader does is that you can't post a song on the theme for the week unless you have a story about it, right? So that is how that group gets to know each other, that they get to build this trust and intimacy, because they're going to talk about their first concert. They're going to talk about this, this song they listened to in their friend's basement, or that this is a song that they had at this one moment, or whatever. So it's helping people kind of gain intimacy through those social networks. So if this were Sandy's life, right, as a home seller, it may be talking about the moment that she walked in and knew it was their house, right? Because I'm willing to bet that sometimes you walk in and you know when it's theirs, that you just go, I can't believe it, this house was made for you, right? Mm-hmm. Or that this is the thing. We do this a lot with gifts with people that we kind of
living in my house though.
yeah.
Mom, Dad, I'm home.
Yeah, we know what's right for us. So this is what you're looking to do. For you, you're going to have to decide what is the play that you're hoping to create with your people, and that may be different for your clients, that may be different than your trade partners, that may be different, but for many of you, it's the same. And so I want you to kind of think about this, not just in your social media marketing, but in your partnership bucket, in your marketing bucket, and there's a lot of different ways. I started to put up the different types of play because I think that helps you kind of navigate, is this a time that we should be using experiential play? Should we be doing exploration, right? Like we've got to idea find. One of the things that you may do is role play, or right now there's a lot of solitary play where you're inviting people to play alone. One of the artistic pieces that I think is really interesting right now is artists are starting a piece of art, and then they're just going to get as far as they can, and then they pack it up and they send it to a different artist on the list, and then that artist has to move the art forward. And they kind of have this round robin. So they have 15 people in that group. You get an artist group, and then you have to sort it around. And then when it gets back to you as the original starter, that's the finished piece, right? And you have one more chance to touch it. So there may be other places there. What does that build in that community? It also builds a way to see something all of those times, right? Because everybody's going to post about what they have. So I would think about what it is, right? How do you want to play with people? And what is the outcome, right? I'm very outcome focused, because that is really where you're going to be able to measure your success. Is the outcome brand loyalty? Is it customer loyalty? Is it fun? Is it a referral? What is the outcome that you're hoping for? And that outcome may be money, That outcome may be that they'll come again. You get to decide. So this is a volunteer, and he came into Project ELF a few weeks ago, and he was like, okay, what do you want me to do? And I said, look, I need all these kits made for little kids. And he, there's this pile of stuff, and he just couldn't figure out how to get into making these boxes of things for kids. And so we gave him the Grand Poobah hat. And I just said, look, here, you are a kid. Just be yourself into a kid and make these kits the way you would want to play, the things that you think are cool. And it was him and his wife. And they had a field day that they are like, oh my gosh, look at this, and this matches this and this, right? And now they could take a very focused task that is not really fun. I mean, we're in a storage locker with piles and boxes, and if any of you have ever been there, I mean, it's a rangoon of craziness. But he had to get into a mindset where he could attach to the outcome, and the outcome was I needed 26 bags of fun, right? So something that is also very popular for some of your brands may be object play. And object play, for those of you who may have been part of Goblet Summer this summer, where you just take and you pick one object and then everyone plays around that object. That's what that art project is, right? Where everybody creates one piece, you send it around, and now we have a finished object. And so it may be that. This is actually a quick event that we did. This is my son's business, where we had to really liquidate some livestock. So we just packed up what needed to get done, and we had a Hold Me event. So this is actually in the parking lot of a Walmart. And we invited a group of people to come to this van, and they could just hold anything that we had in stock so they could buy it. Or they could just get their picture taken with it. They could take a selfie, they could do whatever. But it was a chance that we could do all of the things that COVID had, right? So we wanted them to be able to see the product. We had to have social distancing. We had to kind of have all these things built. But now, and you can see that face on this person, right? She is thrilled to be able to hold this little critter, right? It's very fun. So it's experiential play, but it's also a sales tool, right? That nobody had been to a Hold Me event. This is, for those of you who are doing groups, having groups that are together in multiple ways, it can be kind of boring to go to running club. So this is a running club that my husband is in, and it gets weirder and bigger each year. They're at Lake Harriet. And there's a picture taken every day. And they were like, oh gosh. And I'm like, you guys got to get a lot more creative with these pictures, because this is, right, these are your happy thoughts that you get to participate with people all of the time and do something. But what ends up happening is as these start to come up in their feed, where they're tagged, or we send a picture, or I'll make a video or something like that, they really get another message for themselves that they are self-fulfilled, right? If you see a picture of you happy, you will feel happy. If you see 100 pictures of you happy, you will feel happy. And part of that is the optical piece. The optical, being able to see something will bring you an emotion. And a lot of people forget about that, but they feel it, right? Like when you turn off the news because you don't want to do it, or you'll kind of fade out Facebook, right? Your optics are a key purveyor of emotion. A key purveyor. So one of the reasons why it is so powerful is because people see it. Now these guys just stood for this picture, this next picture, for 1 second. It was spring. This is at Lake Harriet, right? And now you have to kind of train those people to go, y'all got to fun up, right? That like this, you got to be cooler. That this is not Instagram worthy. And you know, this is an opportunity. And so they will frequently hear me say things like, you know, this is the best year of your life, you know, show it. And so when they get to go back to that, they are going to have that memory, and they're going to have that happy thought. When we look at the types of play that you're doing with people, there are those two types that I think a lot of people, I think that's another starting point for you, is the difference between convergent and divergent. This particular picture is actually of me with someone named Rebecca, and she and I found out that we both love Coca-Cola ice cold from McDonald's. And if any of you have eaten drank a McDonald's Coke, they have their own specialness. And McDonald's kind of has pervade the way that they serve Coke to be better, because they can't change the formula from Coca-Cola, but they can also change what happens to it. And if you've ever drank a Coca-Cola from McDonald's, you know it's always ice cold, right? And part of that is, here's the secret, is they actually chill it as it comes out of the machine. Most machines aren't chilled. The actual beverage is not cold. So it comes out ice cold. So you have this very different piece. But this is an annual event. So once a year, she and I make sure to go get our Coca-Cola together. And that's the start of our meeting. It's our Coca-Cola piece. That's my job to remember that. As the client to go, oh, it's June. I'm so glad we're going to have our Coca-Cola date, right? Not very exciting, but now years and years later, we have 7 or 10 of these to go, oh, and here we are enjoying a Coke together. When you are looking at convergent versus divergent problem solving, one is that it only has one solution, right? We're trying to get to an end item. And the other is that there's multiple solutions. So when you think of convergent, it would be like a game. It would be like trivia. If any of you were part of the sticker challenge that I did, where I would just post a picture of a sticker and a trivia question. If you got the trivia question, I would mail you the sticker. And they were random stickers. People started to fight over this Friends sticker. My daughter actually sent me a text and is like, oh my gosh, you need to give me that sticker. I'm like, you didn't win. Not for you. So, you know, and then we have divergent, where there's lots of solutions, right? Where we can all buy into it, like the goat picture, right? When we learn about that play and some of the language that you may choose to have with your partners, we understand it as a childhood development piece, but for an adult, it really is, it's about brain functionality. So if you have a group of people that aren't getting it, let's break into play. Let's goof around. Let's laugh. Because it is that way to build creativity, but it really is that physicality. How do we have the physical body support the work of what you're doing? So something as simple as, you know, making the endorphins be your support tool. And it is a stress reduction. For those of you who have felt really like pent, like you just need to laugh. If you've ever had like so much stress and you just had this one great laugh and suddenly like it's all better, like I can't take it anymore. Like this is so horrible, I'll just laugh. One of the things also that I want to talk about is that pretend play. It is the key to this time, because it will help you self-regulate all of those emotions. We see it in kids and dogs. That's why I chose this image, right? If you've ever had a dog that's like a lunatic, that you just need to be like, oh my gosh, let me let you in the yard, right? Or if you've had a kid that's a complete lunatic, like you need to go to the park, right? That we really do have a physical piece that comes in from movement. If you were ever somebody that loved dance, or that you wanted these other things, that if you do a physical activity that is playful in nature, it will allow you to come back in to the work in a much more available mindset. And when we look at that, this picture, right, you can just feel the joy in that kid and the dog, right? They just wish there wasn't a fence there, right? Like, hi, how can I get to you? How can I get in there and play? You can almost feel how much they want to just hug each other, right? And that is, again, one of the things that you can kind of start to come forward with, is that some games have rules, right? That they have to, we can't have two kings at one time, right? There's only a king and an elf, right? Or we'll make up new rules. And so when we're looking at play and when we go into pretend, that's when we all have to agree that we're in pretend together. So when you are doing that as a group activity or a social activity, you really do announce, this is what we're going to pretend to do. Pretend you are this, right? Pretend these goats are really people, right? That we kind of agreed that we would go there. For those of you who are looking at, like, how do I afford this? This is an interesting shot. This was a philanthropy event that I did probably 7 years ago. And these two people in this picture, on the left is Annie and on the right is somebody named VJ. So I put them together this year in a social justice group to work. And they really didn't know that they had met before. And so I let them work so far this whole summer. So we started in May, right? It's August now. And I said nothing about that they had not met each other, because Annie's a young woman. She has changed enormously. And she was in college at this point. And now she's, she's a pro player. She's played with the most elite athletes in the world. And so I just randomly sent this picture to her. Just nothing. I said nothing. And she sends back, oh my God. Because not 1 minute did she remember meeting this person that many years ago. But they're both on the same journey. So now, in that playful way, I can go back and say, let's look at this picture together, right? Let's come together on this picture. And so I sent it also to VJ, and he's like, didn't even recognize that it was Annie. He didn't even recognize it. And he's like, what's up with the picture? Like, okay. So he only saw himself. And so I had to kind of go back and go, and just to let you know, that woman on the left is the intern for the summer. And he's like, oh my goodness, this is crazy, right? But this is this way for them to also come back to a lesson that they didn't know they learned, right? So when I say to that double layer cake, when you are looking at play, you want to be able to come back to the concept over and over again. So you have to look for ways that you can reintroduce the play again when it's appropriate, so that that other person can have a mirror to look in, that they can see their world a little differently. And that's when you have this kind of magical piece of learning. I do a lot of dramatic play. For those of you who do not recognize this person, this is Sandy, who willingly will let me put feathers on her. Dramatic play, it's a tool that I use a lot because it allows us to go into pretend. Sometimes I'll do it as a class, sometimes I'll do it as an event. This one came out of My Beast Within, was a summer theme that I did. And we've got a lot of people in here who do a lot of dramatic play. This is the difference between dramatic play and enhanced dramatic play. So this is Shakina. You can see Shakina's face when she just was playing with herself. And then you can see it on the other side where we've enhanced it and we've participated with her, right? It changed the whole situation. And that is the difference when you start to look at the buy-in from someone, or where are they? They're very timid. They're not really all in. And so when you look at her picture, she's like, okay, I'm taking a picture of myself, but you can tell her heart is not in that. We haven't hit what is the craziness of play is when you have this enhanced piece. Now, here is another piece where same day, there's a bunch of other people working on this. I think, I don't know whose hands these are, but the manicure makes me think that's Sandy. Right? But she's got one right now, yeah. The manicure makes me think that's Sandy. But again, right, all of these people coming in and we're having this shared experience of play and taking a picture. Then you have the Mickey where I'm going to take it to an extreme. I also had masks that day, and then we can kind of make it into something else. So that would be, right, to go, okay, let's go back, right? That person comes in, they're willing to play, they're at that first level. Then we kind of combine them in to go, let me get more buy-in from you. Let me make it more real. Let me take the depth in, right? Let me put in community so that we can all have a hand in that joy, right? And then what's the follow-up, right? Then let's take it to another extreme, a place where they would not have thought that they were going. And that's where you really see the benefit of play with co-creators, because they will move further with you in things if you take them along. So in this place, she happens to be one of my mentoring students. Because we built that trust in these other ways through this play, right? Let's go back to that picture on the left, right? That first person isn't going to go as emotionally deep with you as when we get to here, right? This was all in a span of under an hour. And you can see that person going, oh my gosh, this rocks, right? You can also do quieter things. I like things that are, bold and flashy and wow, but sometimes it's as simple as this one, which is a tea ceremony. This is another way to kind of say, look, I've got to bring someone in, right? What's the emotional part of play that you want to build with your people? This was a tea ceremony. This is a different one of my clients, and they really use this as a way to say, let's talk about. They happen to plan an event that is a retreat that they do. So they kind of bring all of the people that are going to think about that retreat, and they really have this very playful, yes, but it is somber. It's like, let's get into what we want people to get to. So the type of play that you are having will be the emotion of the outcome that you want. So they want something that is very quiet, a quiet type of introspective play. We want people to explore, but we also want them to come into this other feeling in how they're coming into their emotional experience. This is from an event. Maybe this was this last summer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't ever be afraid to be weird. I am very weird. And I like weird events, but it's also in that multi-layer cake. It's one thing to take a picture. It's another thing to make it so that they have something that they can take with them later. This is Ashley in the middle, who's on this call. But it's also a way to go, and here's a gift for you. This is how we can remember the day or the experience or something else. And it doesn't have to be a picture of you at that event. It only has to be a recognizable something that brings their mind back to the event. That they'll remember the day, they'll remember the lesson. Dawn, you have something to say?
I said those are amazing pictures. Each one of them is just stunning.
Right. Makes it fun, right?
Yeah.
And if you were someone that was at that event, you can smile just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I watched Sandy smile when she saw her hands in that picture. It wasn't even a picture of her. Janet, I watched you smile because you were actually, I think that is your photography in one of those, right? Could be.
Right.
The other part that I remind people about is celebrating accomplishments. This is a great way to work with your partners, is to just go, oh my gosh, let's do this. I love breakfast. I'm a food focused person. I love the celebration of food. So I have something that I call like a waffle event. That it's not a pancake, it's not a breakfast, it's not eggs, right? You're gonna have to have a waffle. This is like a super, super waffle moment. And they're like, waffle moment? Yep, we're gonna have to have a waffle moment. So this is, on the left, her name is Ebony. And Ebony had, done something that was really spectacular. And I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna have your waffle moment. Who do you wanna bring? Right, so going back to that conversation of your best friend, right? Like when we asked you to introduce us to your best friend, it is also that you want to bring your friends into these other parts of your life. So now her best friend got to meet her mentor, and her best friend got to, know us, and we all got to talk about things that were around this accomplishment. But again, it's a way to celebrate, and it just is also a way to expand out. So if you're doing that in partnerships, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. We have, I would look to annual events as a way for you to look at how to play. That it can be a cooking event, it can be something that you host, it can be very private. This is Beth, who has also been in this group before. We have an annual convertible session. So once a year, we'll make a chance and we'll do all of our mentoring in a convertible driving around. And so, wear your hair a certain way, get ready, right? And now you have this anticipatory piece of energy of where someone is invested in the idea in a new way, right? So she starts watching for the weather. Like, oh, it's going to be Thursday. I hope the weather's good. I hope we don't have to have it up. Or, what's our backup plan? That they start investing in what they're going to do with that time in your brand well before the day. And they're also going to think about, right? So for you, it's reminding them of the years past. In this particular case, in one of these years, we had stopped at an art studio that was going out of business, like a decorating thing. And I had bought this giant, I bet it's 3 feet long, alligator, mock alligator skull that we had to try to snap onto the back of this thing. And so when we were getting in the car, I'm like, I hope I don't find another alligator head, right? Because I don't know how we're going to get that at home. Now I'm going to bring you back to the next challenge, right? So we met your best friend. So now what I would like you to do is let me meet that friend in a little different way. And that is, what is the spirit animal of your best friend that you gave us? So give us what their spirit animal would be. And some of you are going to know this right off the top of your head. Okay. Oh, spirit animal. Oh, suspicious snake. I love it. I love it. Okay. Mine is fairly terrible. Mine is so beyond terrible. Oh, yeah. Dog. Dog. So the person that joined us late, hi. Do you want to quick introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Molly.
Molly! You got a haircut too!
I did.
Oh, that's so good. Hey, were you here when we did the drawing of our best friend?
Did not.
Okay, so earlier we drew a quick picture of our best friend. So we've all been introduced to our best friend. So that's why the spirit animal of your best friend came up. Okay, Jackie, what is the spirit animal of your best friend that we met earlier?
It would be a lion.
A lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He's
so
an
great.
extrovert. He's a Leo. It's definitely a lion.
So much a lion. Karen, what's and your what was the nickname of your best friend again? Star Girl. You got to unmute. Karen, you got to unmute. There we go.
I am unmuted. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a leopard
A leopard
with not all of his legs yet.
right? Maybe. Amy, what's your friend? What is the spirit animal of your friend? Your
What
best
came
friend.
to mind for me is, I don't know why I love lemurs. Because they're just so adorable and sweet and kind, and you just want to give them a hug. And my best friend gives me hugs all the time, and so I just think of a lemur. I don't know why.
So good, so good. For those of you who saw this hack job of drawing, this is my attempt at a squirrel. I don't know, the bushy tail maybe. Sandy, what's the spirit animal of your best friend? Oh yeah, you got to unmute. Donna, you're next.
A dog, because she's friendly and fun and she likes dogs.
Oh yeah, so good. Donna, what's the spirit animal for your best friend?
I went with otter. She's, if you know, I'll be at the beach.
I'll be at the beach. I'll be at the beach. Janet, give us your spirit animal for your best friend. Oh, owl.
There's a lot of jokes that go with it.
Oh, so good. Dawn, what about you?
Here's
Oh yeah, that's snake.
a snake. And what it says there is that you only know how cool she is when you're not afraid to approach her.
Ooh, that's so good. Jamie, give us the spirit animal. You might have two, right? Because you have two best friends.
I'm not a drawer at all.
Oh, that's
I
why it's
kinda
so good.
So my day one is a lion because I just think of the scarecrow. Like she has a big bark, but she's really a scaredy person. She's my scared friend. And then my ace and eagle, because she just soars at everything she does. Yeah.
Molly, you want to tell us, first of all, can you introduce us to who your best friend is?
We have to pick just one, huh?
Well, you know, it's hard. It's hard. Who is your best friend and why do you like him?
Well, I gotta say, my best friend through the years has been Nicole, and she perseveres. She's kind.
That's so good. And what is
She
the spirit animal
encompasses
that
joy.
you picked for her?
Well, so I just feel like her spirit animal that she would choose would be a honey badger because her motto is honey badgers just don't care. And I would say that, you know, that doesn't necessarily the kind of the spirit animal when I think about like just the power and the awesomeness of even thinking about a spirit animal for her. I was trying to think like what would do her justice. And I like when somebody mentioned an eagle just because of that symbol of just beauty and strength.
Yeah, very honoring. Ashley, give us your spirit animal. Oh God, you're such a good drawer. Monkey. So cute. So cute.
That's right, Miss Dunn. You're a monkey.
I'm trying to figure out how that comes about, but we'll find out.
Because I can't draw a hyena.
Oh,
Oh.
that so works. That so works. So works. When we go back to our screen, I'll stop. You are screen sharing. Here we go. When we start to look at the thing about that I like about that particular activity is that it sometimes the way that someone else would portray themselves is different than the way you would. That's one of the reasons why I do a lot of photography, is a lot of times that they don't see themselves the same way you do. So another thing that you can look for is perhaps doing an awards that maybe just for your people, just for who had the best something, right? So when you look at, you know, one of you does a lot of floral design, right? It may be the best floral that is for the award of the year, right? A way to partner with your people for what they do best, right? And do it as a playful action. It's also sometimes about being in a different place. That's one of the reasons why so many people have events in different places, that they will start to gain the learning that's attached to the place. So it may be that you want to learn something about that person by bringing them somewhere, and that your brain will respond to that. This is one that I use a lot in small business planning, is field trip learning. Is that I'll plan on what is it that we're expecting. So it's a longer session, it's an entire afternoon, and I'm gonna plan a field trip based around a concept that I want them to learn. So in this particular case, I had kind of an agenda of here are the things that we're going to be paying attention to. In this particular item, this is a storefront owner, and we had to really understand some different very advanced concepts around lighting and how lighting translates to money, and how does how do you walk through the flow and so forth. So sometimes when I have something that's really difficult, experiential play is really where you can kind of bring it forward and to be able to say, let me show you this way of understanding. And this was a particular thing where if you weren't brought up in retail management, that I have to give them some really dry material, but they don't necessarily, they're not going to retain it. But if I walk them through it in a playful way and ask them specific questions, right? Divergent versus convergent, right? And then hand them those tools. So I'll give them all the stuff I want them to read and know that day. And I'll say, look, you can bring this home or we can look at it at lunch. But then I'll say, let's go into the store. Let me ask you a few questions. And in their case, it was, what's the first thing you looked at in that store? Why do you think it was set up that way? Do we all see the same first thing, right? So retail management has an enormous amount of science around it. There's been a lot of eyes on your eyes for a long time. Grocery stores have really done the largest amount of studies on what you're buying is. So there's an enormous amount of retail about literally where do your eyes go. What is very interesting about that is that men's eyes go a different place than women's eyes. So if you notice, if you have ever walked past a store that has t-shirts or hats or something like that, that is a very male audience, you'll notice that it's up on the far back wall is the first place to do that. They have lots of information up high. Men go to the overlook of the store and women do not. Women are trying to hone in on a place. So how they mark things is very different in those types of locations. Classroom, the way that you are working with your clients, it may be that you have to do something completely different. Three-dimensional learning is one of the things that I really encourage people to do. Tactile play is also what it's called. If you've ever seen in a school where they have things that you can count, tactile play is very good. Because you're working with adults, the majority of everyone here, tactile play, when I attach it to something that is convergent, right? So has many different answers. When we start to look at that part, divergent, not convergent, when it's divergent, where there's many different answers, we can really see someone assemble something with three-dimensional, and now they can use those ocular cues and they can look at the problem differently. So that's really when you're starting to add up different kinds of play, and the more types of play and learning and trust building that you can put in there, the deeper the connection is between you and them and what they're trying to have as an outcome. So this is a particular, I call it the war chest, where I bring this, it's so heavy. These are all metal pewter things. And we build them across a timeline and say, here's where you're trying to go. Here's all the resources. Let's line them up. So you can see a time lapse of when you have to put things together. And this happens to be also someone that came out of this group. This is Sweet Science Ice Cream. So that's that. Another way, you may recognize some of these faces as well. Janet's in this picture, is community, is interacting with people in community.
I'm in both.
Yeah.
I made it your page. Because your blue eyes are there, right? How do we build community? And how do you invite people to interact in the community? What are those things that you're doing? On the left, we're at a big gala. On the right, we're at an inner city project. So both ends of the spectrum, right? The street level action and then the fancy pantsy whatever. So when you're doing community work together. It's just another layer of how you can play together. A lot of companies will do this with the way that they are doing philanthropy in general. It can be, you know, it's one of the things that has made Habitat for Humanity so popular, is that granted they're working together, but they are playing, that they are coming for an outcome where everyone is hands-on, and they do a lot of play. That's a big piece in their leadership, is how to make sure that people are having a good time while they're attaching to these deeper, more meaningful conversations. We also know that if you are building something to give away, you're actually going to enjoy it more. So working on something like that, if you're building it for yourself, it's fun, but it's really a lot more fun to build a house and give it to somebody else. That the lifelong satisfaction of that piece of play is longer lasting. And when you think back to it, you get an immediate rush of endorphins back. So, okay, so we did spirit animals. This is a rapid fire. And I'm really just gonna test your knowledge of how fast you can move from one concept to the other. This is a 10-second scribble. And it is to see if you can, I'm gonna show 5 pictures, and we're gonna see how fast you can scribble down an answer to each of those 5 pictures. They all have the same question. And I'll give you a minute before I say go. Again, we talked about spirit animal, right? This is a spirit animal conversation. Again, it's often a metaphor. I saw some of you really understand that metaphor, but again, it is just, right, who is this? So when you're thinking about this, I do want you to think about this as your life, but also as the people you're doing business with. To go, oh my gosh, I thought about you in my class today. Or, oh, I didn't know that I thought of you as this animal, right? So this is rapid fire. You'll only get these pictures for a few seconds each. So picture number 1, right? Scribble the person in your life who has this as their spirit animal. Okay, 10 seconds is over. This one. This one. This one. And the last one. So I'm going to pull us back from stop share. Amy, give us what you found. Were any of them hard?
I would say yes and no, because I second guessed myself. At first, someone would come to mind. I'm like, oh, is it really?
Right.
So I think it was that second guessing. But otherwise, yeah, I would say it's easy if I just trust my intuition that, yep, this is a spirit animal that goes with this person.
Right, right. Any, so let's go to, okay, on my screen, it's next to me. I'm blanking. Gosh, I'm so sorry. Because it gives you a number. Bottom of the screen, it is daycare.
Oh, Molly?
You're there. There you go. Haircut. I'm calling on you and you know it.
Molly?
Molly. God, I don't know why I blanked. I'm so sorry. What a rotten friend. Molly, any surprises on your spirit animals?
Gotta unmute.
Oh yeah.
Unmute. There we go. Thank you. The last one, because I saw the image and thought of I'm off and you will not catch me until I'm taking a pause. And I couldn't think of anyone except for myself. So I'm sure like
that actually, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that when I do that rapid fire, I do want to kind of see a hand of when we got to that last piece, how many of you saw yourself in the last photo, right? It generally is about 50%, unless you've assigned that spirit animal to someone else. Traditionally, about 50% will go to the last one as themselves. So I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, Jamie, and any surprises? Who was your flamingo?
My flamingo was my sister Carmi Ann.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was surprised that I had no hesitations with any of them. I didn't have like not a moment of like thought who it might be or might not be. And even on the last one, when we did the spirit animals for our friends, the same, I put me also on there, and that's the animal I wrote down as my spirit animal. And then on the fifth picture, that was the fifth picture that came up.
Right.
But yeah, definitely my sister Carmienne with the flamingos. She's like, like the flamingos and stuff when they, I just think like they look out at everything and they achieve so much. And yeah, so that's what I think.
I need to meet your sister.
Yeah, I do.
Bring your sister.
Karen Carson, I did put your spirit animal as flamingo. You are my flamingo.
So did I.
Did you? Did you put yourself as that?
Yes.
So maybe I subliminally put it in there for you. Janet, I saw you just light up a smile on that frog.
Yes. Sorry. Well, first of all, flamingos was you, Mickey.
Oh, that's so good.
It's
that's so
like
funny.
pink. Yeah. My little sister, you know how little tiny kids like stuffed animals? She liked these rubber sticky frogs when she was little instead. Carrying around these rubbery sticky frogs. So.
Right.
She's in California, so I never see her.
Donna, any surprises for you? You got to unmute. Whoop, try again. There we go.
I'm sorry. My internet connection is horrible this morning, and so it's kind of been going in and out. This was the first one, the chicken, also reminded me of Maya because she has a character called Rosemary Chicken. So anyway, that one reminded me of Maya. Really well.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So your best friend has a couple of different characters that they play in your life. Yeah. Sandy, we had a dog in this one, but it wasn't the same dog you drew.
Oh, that's true. Yes. So, Amy was the dog again.
Yeah.
You were the flamingo.
And
Janet was the leopard. And I thought of Janet right away, and I'm like, oh, I got to think of somebody else that's, not in the group. And then when she raised her hand and said that the leopard was her spirit animal, then I just wrote her down.
See?
Janet Mills, that's you.
Yeah. Janet Mills. Dawn, anything surprise for you?
No, but the red-headed rich chicks, guess who got that?
Oh, see? There you go. Ashley, any surprises for you?
I was having a really hard time coming up with it because I wanted it to look perfect in my notebook.
Oh, of course.
So, but I still haven't figured out frog.
Yeah.
That was Theo.
No, Theo ended up being the rooster.
Oh, see?
Right? That was my problem. I sat there between the two of them, and I was like, I thought of him first on rooster. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you.
Hey, Bob, you have to go, the girls. You want to see?
That's so awesome. Jackie, any surprises for you?
No, when I got to Flamingo, I thought of my friend Jill, who got married in Las Vegas at the Flamingo, and there are real flamingos there. And so what you were talking about earlier, how you just have the layers of the cake where you keep thinking, every time I see flamingos, I smile and I think of Jill and their wedding.
And there it is, right?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
All of these layers of connection.
Right.
Karen, any surprises for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Not really. I think that, well, although I was surprised that I put down the chicken as Susan, but that's what came. And of course, the frog is Karsten. So,
oh, yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to mention to everyone while you're all here is that I don't want to hear any complaining about your drawing. It's not about the drawing. It's about the process of doing the drawing.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if it's something that you aren't ready to present to the world. The whole purpose of play is to try things.
Yeah,
and
trying
to draw is one of them.
Right. It's something. I'm going to come back to our screen and share. I think that's funny. Oh, I wonder if it'll let me back in. There we go. The other thing that I like about play is that sometimes it's a way to talk about things that are icky, that are really difficult to kind of get through, or that are really puzzling people. I did a thing a while ago on body image. As you may know, I'm a bigger person. And so people get a lot of ideas about what bigger people are allowed and not allowed to do. And one day I came up with this little whale and did a story of all of the things that people would say, because you're a big person, you shouldn't do, right? You shouldn't have joy. You shouldn't feel sexual. You shouldn't do all of these things that it's just not, there must be something wrong with you. And sometimes play is also a way to get through things that are very difficult, to see what that is. And what was very interesting to me is how many people identified with this character. I made it into a video. I sent it out to some other people who have to talk to teens or other people who have a lot of body image conversations, and they can have that whether they have an eating disorder, whether they have an addiction, whether they can, there's a lot of times that people can see themselves as this little pink whale that's lost in the world, or that wanted to explore the world, that, you know, you're not supposed to do that. So we put this whale into all of these different scenarios in this video, and I'll share the video with you. It's on YouTube, of, you know, what to do, right? This whale just wanted to have a life that was different. And it's a way to also invite people to play with that concept, and how we got there. The other thing I think a lot of you will probably use is that you'll be using that way of play, right? Of how do we get into emotions? How do we get into emotions that are safe, but yet give a feeling that can get people to come into it again differently. This was a card that I had sent out to people I hadn't seen in a while. You know, without you, I float aimlessly like fingerprints on a revolving door, right? It's playful, it gets the concept across. So when you're looking at, again, how do you add play into your everyday conversations, it may be just a smile. It may be letting them remember something. These are some other pieces that I've used in the past. Every year I leave, I go on a trip. So I used an app and put a beard on myself and sent it to people. Of, while I was in Maine, I grew a beard, right? Funny, not something exciting, but just something different. The other is I do another series called the I Selfie, and remind people to kind of look at the world a little differently. So I'll do that as an annual series. The other, on the very left, is every year I have to do a bookkeeping audit for people. I try to do it at a time that's not as stressful. And the front of the card reads, yes, you can wear your jeanie pants. And then on the inside, it says it's time for your bookkeeping audit, right? Because we're going to have to make magic. But again, sometimes that's a task that some people aren't going to enjoy, right? So using play to help people get through things that are maybe a little bit difficult, especially if you have trouble spots in the things that you're working through with your customers. Play is a way to get at some things that are a little deeper and harder. So the goal for us today is to really get through what are the 3 rock solid ways that you can introduce play. And that's where I'm going to kind of open this up to, what are you going to take away with you? So I'm going to take off the screen share and let's just kind of go around, because some of you have had these things pop in already. What are some of the ways that you can do that, right? We went through a lot of different things, right? Object play, experiential play, learning play, physical play, right? With the runners. We went through a lot of images. What are the 3 that you can bring in? And I would just unmute yourself when you know you have one. And this is also a chance for the group to respond. I'm hoping that you'll get some ideas from each other.
Well, I just have one so far. Sometimes I forget to take pictures with my friends and my clients when we're out doing things, because I think that's such a great way to, like you showed us in the class, to, remember that fun experience. And everybody just loves to see pictures of themselves. So like I was at the cabin with my friends for 5 days and we didn't take any pictures, which is so dumb because, there's the 4 of us hanging out, we all thought maybe I was, on Wednesday, we thought I was infecting everybody with COVID,
Right.
I wasn't.
So you were the least favorite friend then.
Right. Everybody's like, ah! So just to remember to take, and I don't always remember to take pictures at closings or at the final walkthrough. And those are just such memorable times. I just need to keep taking more pictures. So that's one thing. I need 2 more. So I'm listening.
Well, and for you, I think everybody's going to have an idea. So I'm going to kind of open it up. Remember that Sandy is a realtor, right? But one of the ways I think, again, in that play is really looking at what's the first big event that they're going to have in their home, right? So what's, and being a part of that is to go, oh, I noticed that you guys are having a birthday, I'm definitely coming over with a cake for the first birthday in this house, right?
Yeah.
We have to get that. Janet.
Okay. I want to seal the deal on that one. When you take pictures like the ones you showed, it makes me realize, oh, this is an important moment. And it kind of elevates it, not to just, oh, we did this today. It's like, Mickey thinks this is special. This is important. And so the moment when you take those pictures, and then of course we see them later, but it makes it feel like what we're doing is really worthy. And then I wanted to also second Sandy's thing, because anyone would love a picture with Sandy. And we bought our house 30 years ago, and I still remember, those memories don't go away.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a big deal. So
Yeah. And for a lot of people, buying a home is, going to decide a lot of their life. It's going to decide the school district that they send their kids to. It's going to decide their commute to work every day. It's going to decide, whether or not they want to eat in the yard or not, barbecues and, Christmas and snowstorms and so forth. It's no fun to be snuggled up in a snowstorm in a house you hate.
Yeah, and Sandy's job really is finding people a home. It's not just transactions. You're finding someone a home or helping them free themselves of a home. But I also feel the same way about apartments. Even horrible little apartments that I had, it's still quite a big deal to get that apartment.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Jackie, how are you going to incorporate play? What did you come up with?
What I wrote down
Tell us
was
what do you do again for a living? What?
I'm a writer.
Okay.
And I did Natural Awakenings magazine for years in the Twin Cities. I had the Twin Cities edition. And then I sold that a couple years ago. And now I'm starting another magazine called Letters and Journals.
Oh, good.
Letter writing and journal keeping.
Oh, that'll be delicious. So yeah, you're going to be very creative.
Yeah, I liked what you said about, it doesn't have to be pictures, but it can be capturing that, a way to remind them of happy. So creating the happy experience and then finding ways to remind them to bring them back to that happy experience. Usually often it's pictures, but it can be other things as well.
Right.
So just putting that mindset on when I'm creating activities or events or anything, how I'm going to capture it and how I'm going to bring it back to them in the future.
That's the capitalizing, right? I mean, that's really what you guys are looking at. That's the one thing you have to look at out of today, right? That's the big word that should be in all caps, is capitalizing. How do you capitalize on what you're doing? And going back to that, Jackie, I think one of the things that I want to respond to is that if any of you have had Facebook, right, that pops up a memory, right? It's your memory. And the number one reason they did that was capitalization of you being more connected to the relationship to Facebook. That Facebook would do that for you. And so then they started doing like your friendiversary, right? So that they could remember that this is a place that you get to be with your friends and how long you've had that. So, and some of you may, when you get those, realize like, wow, I've been on Facebook for 11 years. Geez, what happened there, right? So again, I think that's one more way. Writing really has, Jackie, do you mind if I let the group respond?
I welcome it, yeah.
So if you guys were gonna just kind of, as a writer, she's got a magazine, she already has a magazine, how would she incorporate play with her readers, her other writers, and her community? How would she incorporate play?
I think, because I also teach journaling and do journaling, one of the things I do, I have a small group of writers that I facilitate, which we haven't been able to do during the COVID-19, is to do a challenge.
Yeah,
have a challenge on, to journal for 15 minutes a day or whatever. And some people don't do that, but other people do. And I think once you get them going in that direction, because writing in general is really important, because it takes what's inside your head out, puts it down, and there it is. And a lot of times you don't remember how brilliant you were last week.
Yeah. Right. But it's also, right, I'm opting in. I'm accepting the challenge.
Yeah.
I love it. Dawn, you have some advice?
Yeah, my favorite little magazine is Reader's Digest, and I just always seek out all of those little quotes and humor in uniform and things like that. And I will save them for a long time. Those are, to me, like the little nuggets of any magazine.
Right. Amy, it looks like you have some advice too on that magazine.
Oh, no, I didn't. I wish I did. I guess what I was thinking is just how can you just be playful with language within the magazine and make things fun? Because, yeah, right now, I mean, just having humor and play, I think is so incredibly important. How can you just the layout and the language and all of that, how can you make that playful? So it's something that as I look through it, there's smiles happening.
Right. Jamie, any words from you on magazine, writing and journaling? What would be some way that you would want to play with that concept?
Well, I journal every day since I was a little girl. Like, I'm a huge journaler, and I have like 4 or 5 going on at one time.
Right.
But one of the things that, like, so for me, sometimes like I just write and keep writing until whatever comes out is a big thing for me. But I'm a storyteller, so
Yes, you are. Love your
So
stories.
I rather, like, that's just a piece of me. Everything has a meaning to it. And so when people experience me, I want them to experience the meaning. So, I mean, as far as writing goes, I think that in my writing, I want them to feel like if I'm talking about eating a piece of cake, I want them to like feel like I felt when they ate the cake.
Right.
Like could taste whatever it is. So I tend to read those type of magazines, those type of books, those type of, no matter what the genre is or what it's talking about, is like if I feel like I can replace myself in whoever that may be.
Right.
Yeah.
So being able to attach to someone else's story or to be able to unfold your own.
Yeah, like when you were saying, like when we were putting down these names of the characters or celebrities, that it didn't mean anything, but like when we each said those people, you could almost picture what they meant in those people. Like they don't know who Deborah and David is, but I would hope that by the way that I said it, they understood. Like you made your own story about who Deborah and David is in there.
Absolutely. And that is part of that exercise, right? It's to get that moving. Janet, you run a magazine. You've got a magazine as well. Any ways that you can invite play to her concept?
Yep. So to her concept, well, if she needs things brought in, what I was thinking for me is, you know, we all have times when we need to nag people for things. But instead of nagging, showing like a picture of the person taking a photo and saying, how about some photos? So putting play into the process of working together and taking away nagging.
Yeah, I think actually that's one I think all of us can take away, right? How do we add play into these really boring processes? And as a magazine person, bunch of you have had a lot of editing here. You are nagging a lot of, I need this. And it's
really fun thing though, because when you get it, it's like, woo.
Right, I'm so excited.
Yeah, so so skip the nagging part, because it's fun.
Right. It's so interesting. I think I love for Jackie, I love the language piece that people have brought up. I like the way of working with the other pieces. You know, how to get people in. I really love the challenge, which is different than the other. I think there's a lot of really great ideas in play, and also inviting writers to illustrate in some way, either through something that's going to push them, right? So we could have given them a character and then said, hey, now write a sea shanty, right? That something so obscure and weird that invites people to go, oh, how do you write a sea shanty about, you know, this particular topic? By taking things that aren't related and putting them together, I think you really get a way to invite people to something that's completely weird, a mashup, right? And that's really a mashup invitation. Ashley, any advice for Jackie before I move on?
I couldn't come up with something this time around.
Okay, good. Well, you might pop in. Okay, Donna, let's go to you. What you were made for play. Nido Tree was a brand that was made for play.
Correct,
What did you come up with as ways that you can invite play into your brand?
Well, I'm having some things coming together. Like in our last buddy call, we talked about what can I get absorbed in, something to get me absorbed in play, not just a task list, but what can really like draw me in and want me to play. And this is like, oh my gosh, I've had this idea for a long time, but I've never done it, which is to create a sort of character, the Soccer Birds character, but make it bigger, like 2 feet or 3 feet tall, so that it can prop up like in front of a business that, oh, this book is now carrying my
love it
product. So, Soccer Birds is going into this store, and it'd be a great little playful visual. So I was like, okay, that's just so playful, and that could be done anywhere. It's like your little pink whale. You could just prop it in front of anywhere And so that I think might be like that. I think I know how to do this. I think I can do that. Well, I certainly know how to take a picture. So, and then just having said that, I'll just on the chat, I am desperately in need of Instagram followers. So if you're on Instagram, if you want to, I put Soccer Birds in the chat, you can go on Instagram and hopefully you'll see some results from today's meeting, that you'll see what I'm talking about hopefully soon.
Right. And is everyone able to see the chat on the side, or to be able to get into there? That is a place.
Yeah.
Oh.
Once you click on it, you can see everything.
Right. So as you're going through, you can start kind of putting in some of those ideas. Karen's recording. So I think, Karen, did you tell me that the chat comes with it?
The chat comes separate from it, but it comes.
Right.
So there's like 3 different files for every meeting. One's sound only, one's video, and one is the chat. And you can actually download the chat anytime at the bottom there.
Okay.
Mickey, I had one other thing. It was really from the very beginning, like when you talked about the band inputting the song in order to participate, or the realtor, you know, like this was when we knew they loved their house. I could be posting things on, you know, I have a picture of a bird making a goal. Well, then I could say, okay, what was your favorite goal? Post your favorite goal. Talk about your, you know, tell the story about your favorite goal. And then I also have pictures of saves. So the goalkeepers could be like, tell me about your perfect save, or your favorite save, or your favorite team celebration. Like all of these things are reflected in the characters. And so I could be drawing that out in my conversations on Instagram.
Oh, I love that. On right, so that would be kind of on a specific move, right?
Right. I love to read soccer. I love to read soccer biographies, and I was really struck in, well, it's David Beckham's, one of David Beckham's biographies was they never forget their best goals. That one goal that for us as viewers was a moment in time, was just a moment in passing time. For the player who made that goal, it's a forever moment. And so that was a really interesting thing to get out of a biography.
And I love that we can kind of get into those forever moments in the mind of the achievement.
Well, like, and I'll never forget the day I looked in the window of my house. It was like, this is my house. I'm looking at my house. I have no idea how this is going to happen, but this is going to happen. And so, yeah, I'll never forget that.
Right. Like those soccer moments that it's in running, it's a bonk. Those are bonk stories, the days that you just totally, you know, couldn't finish that race, or that you completely failed. My husband's an ultra marathoner, so he can run many miles. So he's going to run 65 miles for his 65th birthday coming up here. And there are times when, like, he loses his mind. And these are the stories that runners or athletes really like, right? They like it to be bloody and gnarly and kind of, you know, awful. But they have these bonk stories. When did you kind of lose it? What I like about some of these other ways that you guys are coming up with is how many times they can go to everyone, right? They can go into everyone's business plan. Molly, let's hear something from you. What can you take away? You got to unmute.
Bringing play into our time together. We have staff development day coming up at the end of August, and last night I stayed here at work until about 11 o'clock reviewing all of the regulations that we have to have every year, and then all of the fun ones that are involved in this this new time that we're all experiencing. And I got very much, you know, like kind of caught in the, okay, we have to make the most of this time, and here's the grid of who needs to be at what classes, and, you know, and make sure that everything's checked off, and completely forgot about making it an enjoyable experience. So my takeaway is that, yes, those things matter. They are not important for the check in the box. They are important for the safe and meaningful care that we provide children and families, but the check in the box is for the requirements. But that, like, ultimately, because my passion is that people are lifelong learners and that they enjoy learning, and that, you know, that there is this sense of discovery in everything, that if I forget that, I'm forgetting my mission and I'm forgetting my values. And it's so easy to do when you're bogged down. And so for me, just thinking about, right behind here, my son Elijah got married on Saturday, and here, I'll turn it. This is my family, and my son Elijah got married to Andrea, and they are having twin boys that are identical, and these two are getting married in July. I spent a weekend with my son and his wife and his mother, who flew in from Cancun, and it was the best weekend of my life. Like, okay, minus my kids being born and my marriage, it was the best weekend of my life. And I forget, like, how much I enjoy play and how much I enjoy being with others and making memories and taking pictures. And so I think my takeaway is just that on August 26th or 8th, whenever our professional development day is, that is the focus, that we capitalize on this opportunity to get the job done, but in a meaningful way that transforms our time together, so that we carry that into all of the other pieces of our life that really, really matter.
I think that right there is actually one that we can all take away something from, right? Of that question, right? That Molly just posed, which is, right, how can I transform the time we have together? You know, that I think that's really powerful. I mean, it's really, that's a powerful takeaway for all of us. Amy, what do you got?
Oh, you know, I love the experiential, and just trying to bring some more play into the coaching I do, because of the coaching I do. I mean, folks are just in a lot of fear right now around work and their jobs and making money, and so bringing some play into that through experiential. I think physical too, because we get so intellectual about our fears and worries. How can we use our body in a physical way to be playful and be expressive, and to honor those emotions, but also to work through them in a physical way? Because I know for myself, even if not my clients, that's something I need to do for me, because I can get really up in here in my head.
Yeah. I have any of you seen Body Groove? So Body Groove, she has a really interesting story, but she had a lifetime eating disorder. She's a famous dancer. She's done all the choreograph for, you know, probably every hip hop video that you've seen in the last 20 years. And she was a dancer, and she really, really did not enjoy her body, and she had lots of things to go through to get that. And one day she had to figure out that she had to dance for herself, that she had never been willing to dance for herself. And so she always had all this pressure around being the best and having all the stuff, and then food issues and all of the stuff, lump. And literally that minute that she was willing to dance for herself, with herself, and that's what that Body Groove is. She'll be like, okay, feel a little thing in your thing, you know, get a little move here, and she'll just kind of walk you through that it has to be loose, and let's be inspired by our own body. She had been through so many things. The minute that she was able to learn to dance for herself, she no longer was trapped in what is the most deadly disorder Eating disorders are the #1 killers of all. I mean, it beats alcohol. It beats a lot of other pieces here. And that was her ticket out. That was her ticket out of 20 years of really tough stuff. And she got that through play. That she could now figure out how to dance for herself. So I really like that as a concept. And she's an interesting person. She's had an interesting life.
Vicki, what was her name again?
I don't remember her name,
Misty.
but I wrote it on here. It's Body Groove.
Yeah, and her name is
got it.
Misty.
Misty, that's right. And it's an MIST.
I can't believe that you haven't had an ad on Facebook following you around for it, because I have for weeks.
Oh, you have? Oh,
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I must fit her target audience. So
You must be a target audience, right?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, she's great. So she probably has built a product by now. That's good. That's good. When you look at some of the other plays that we talked about was object play. Jackie, I think that's another way. I think that's another way. That'll work for you. Okay. Ashley, what do you got?
I'm muting myself first.
So good.
My hard part is that I facilitate play all the time.
You do.
So trying to come up with like, oh, what else can you do is almost a little bit of a job. So most of the things that I put down, I realized are things that I've already had on like my to-do list anyway. So my first one is looking at social media and trying to find a way to connect with my travel guests to generate new bookings, especially in light of COVID. So, I mean, like that's complicated because obviously we want everybody to stay safe. We want people to take safe precautions, and everybody's safety is different and unique to them, what they think is going to be a smart time to finally go travel, right? And you don't want to eliminate anybody else's personal feelings about when they're ready, right? So right now I am about to go travel. So I'm going to be leaving and doing things in Yellowstone, and then like I'm gonna have a week back home, and then I'm going off to Disney. So it's, for me right now, I'm trying to think of my plan of what can I do on social media to get people to realize like, hey, like I'm leaving, I'm getting out of my house, like let's go somewhere. And we can start thinking about 2021 because 2020 sucks. But here's the end of 2020 and we're gonna go do something now. So there's that I'm trying to figure out. And then creative play pictures was my second one, where, you know, instead of making sure they have like, oh, the coolest picture or something that I want to play with, maybe finding something that people can connect to better. Because, for example, my last ones that I've done have been over in Pandora World in Disney. And my favorite is always just taking pictures all over the place there, because there's not a unpicturesque site in view anywhere in that spot. And I love it. But it's not the thing that people necessarily enjoy seeing on my social media, right? So it's like, okay, well, that's, I enjoy, but nobody else seems to enjoy, right? So now it's a game of what will people like? And so I'm thinking of maybe finding like a small travel buddy and maybe just doing like small pictures with my travel buddy being like the story person, which is something that a couple of my friends had tried in the past, and I'm not sure how successful it was, but we'll see if that's something that can help with travel. And then my third one was trying to find a way, in light of COVID, how to get the Tiny Diva team to feel like a team. Because we're not able to go out to events with each other. We're not able to host big events, which is the big thing that everybody loves. And we only host it once or twice a year. And so we've kind of like started taking that back, which has kind of lost some of the camaraderie that people enjoy. But it's because we can't do anything right now. So I was able to, I was hosting a painting party with Rapunzel, and the tickets flopped. So instead I said, you know what, let's just go ahead and invite like some tiny diva friends. We'll go ahead and record it and we'll do a Disney bound of the princesses. So I will give you a few princess things and you can change that into a modern look for them, and we'll paint together so that the dresses don't end up with paint on them.
Right.
And so we did that, and then we had a few other people who actually like purchased tickets like last minute after I had already like made this decision. And you know, it gave a chance for the kids to be surprised because now there was more faces on the screen. But that's been about 2 months now since we've done something again as a team, and that one was just kind of a last minute throw together real quick. So
Right.
needing to find something to bring people back together as a team.
Right. I love it. Okay, we are coming to the end. I'm going to give a quick kind of review of what
Nikki,
is, yep.
I have just one thing to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a book called Hop, Skip, Jump, and it's a lot about how to be more fun. And it's a 3-step process. Hop, you know what a hop is? You're just hopping in one place. You don't move forward. And skipping is where you're kind of all over the place. And then jump is where you actually move forward. So I'm in my, I think, 4th week of being certified in this process. But it's really a lot of fun. It has 75 exercises in it that you can try yourself, and a lot of it, all of it involves something with your hands. So there's a lot of stuff out there that's fun to read and is fun to fun. So we're at a time now where, you know, it's, what have you got to do? Just educate yourself.
Right. Right. I'm going to go a quick round. What are you taking away before we leave? Molly, I'm going to go from you first so you can just all unmute. What's the thing you're taking away today? Oh, Molly's still writing. Anybody. We'll just open it to anybody. What are you taking away?
Got to do your work, so might as well infuse it with fun.
Okay. Love it. Okay. Dawn, what are you taking away?
Actually, I have something I really wanted to share with you, but I might have to wait till next month. But I have this quote here. It's, I don't know if you can read it.
Good. Put it into the thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm such a slow typer. It says, "It's not about changing your identity. It's about expanding it."
Yeah.
That works with this because I need to expand my identity. Well, I am expanding my identity. Going through some changes, and I think play will be a good, actually very therapeutic, and I can use that with other people too, because I'm starting a new business and I've built a website for it already, and it will be it's called RN Skin Therapy.
Oh yeah, I saw it in the thing. Put it in the feed again.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I think finding some creative things to do with that. I do want to share. I am going to share. So this was how much hair I cut off. And this is the reason.
And this is what?
The reason I cut it off. My hair is falling out. This is 1 week of hair loss.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not going to show you, but this is my hair. So on my wedding anniversary, this is 1 week of cut off of which is also. And so this is what I had cut off. And what I'm turning this around to is kind of amazing because I am spending a lot of time learning about rejuvenation, skin rejuvenation, and healing. And I'm using light energy, and I'm finding out so much. And I just met a doctor who is selling me some of her equipment for me to actually move this whole process into a whole new business for myself, actually.
Good.
Because I have some.
Okay. Put it in the thing. I'm going to keep us close because we're over time. But type like a mad person right now, so we can all get it into the thing. Okay, you guys, we are over time. Is there any last thing that you want to share with the group quickly before Karen buzzes us out here? It is an honor to be with you. I thank you so much for being here. I thank you very much for playing with me. And again, capitalization. That's the thing you've got to take with you today. All right. Be well. Any last comments? Put them in the thing. Bye.